to the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have a special guest from the Vegas Chamber, my fellow board trustee, but also CEO of National Technical Institute, my friend, Woodward. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Jaime.
Thank
for
you for
having
being
me
here today.
Yeah, this is great.
So, first of all, congrats on your new role at NTI. I read that you're transitioning from the CFO role to the CEO role. So fill us in on those details.
Yeah, it's fun track. I joined NTI, it's been 4 years ago now, and initially went in as the CFO. With my finance background, that was a good fit with my partners. But in the end of last year, one of my partners decided he really wanted to go and do some other things. He's kind of a serial entrepreneur, and so he wanted to go a different direction, and so we bought him out, and I assumed the CEO role, and so now it's transitioning from a finance specific focus to a strategic and overall growth mindset, it's been fun. I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I almost felt like just observing from the outside that you were already played a role in that. Maybe wasn't the primary function, but even as a CFO, I think I observed you were playing a role in that growth of the business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of collaboration and then being out and executing. That's,
Good.
Which is it's a lot of fun. It's fun to do. And you know, growing Workforce Connections the way you have, it's a blast. You surround yourself with good people, put the right vision in place, and you just roll.
Well, before we come back to know more about NTI, I forgot to mention that besides being both of us trustees of the Vegas Chamber, we also co-chair one of the committees. This is the Workforce and Economic Development Committee. We have our next meeting on Thursday. But before we go again back to NTI, for those who don't know you here, our listeners, our viewers, tell us a little bit about, where you were born, where you grew up, went to school, college perhaps, your first job, and how did you get here to Vegas?
That's a long and boring story that I don't think anybody wants to hear, but let me give you a little synopsis. So I grew up in the Salt Lake area in Utah. Kind of an ideal life, honestly. I grew up in kind of an undeveloped area, so I felt like I was Tom Sawyer, building rafts, going down canals, running through fields in the summers, and just loved it. I grew up in a very blue collar area. My dad, I make the joke that my dad's an engineer, and people say, "Oh, what kind?" I say, "The kind that drove the engine." Right? He's a train engineer, worked as a railroader for his career, and so everybody around me was that same class of worker, which was awesome. Great people to learn from. And so what was interesting is I had a few people who impacted me in life, a couple of mentors who really wanted me and helped me to see that I could be more than I thought. And so they encouraged me to go to school, to get an education. And so I did. I went to the University of Utah and got a finance degree and started in banking and doing business and commercial banking at that time. While I was in school, I met my wife. She's a sixth-generation Southern Nevadan. She's one of the Levitt clan, for those who are familiar with Southern Nevada. And so my kids, seventh
Judge
generation.
Myron Levitt, right?
Yeah, yep, big family, all related. So I started in my career in banking, and I started out in Portland, Oregon, moved from there to Boise, Idaho, and then back to Salt Lake and down here after getting a master's as well in business. And so we'll talk a little bit about, I think, how that affected me a little bit later. But so what really brought me to Vegas is after I was working for Chase Bank at the time. And after Chase purchased Washington Mutual, needed to grow into the new markets that came under that umbrella. And so I was asked to come here to start up or to bring Chase Bank to Southern Nevada. And that was 12 years ago, and left that 4 years ago for NTI. So.
And were you already married when you came here then?
Yeah, I was married. Got married in 2000, so it's been 23 years this year. And
but you guys were living in Utah.
Living in Utah at the time. Yeah, my wife was at BYU. I was at Utah. And, somehow that rivalry worked.
Yeah.
And we got together, and it's been great.
That's very cool. So your wife is also related then to former Boulder City Councilwoman Peggy Levitt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
And then we had a board member a while back, Liberty Levitt.
Yep.
Also.
Yeah.
That's a big family, as you said.
It's a big family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to your business, because National Technical Institute, for those of us who know about the school and the impact, it's a national leader in high quality vocational training. But I want you to give us, from your words, and since you're an industry expert, tell us about what makes you unique and what unique niche you fill in the market of this, preparing people for the jobs that are available today. Because again, a lot of our guests talk about that supply-demand equation, that our country's catching up with this. While we still need, of course, college pathways for architects, engineers, doctors, all the professional things that we need for the world to spin, we also need plumbers and electricians and carpenters. And so tell us about NTI and why you're so passionate about it.
Oh, yeah. I get up every day, honestly, Jaime, and love what I do, because we're changing lives and we're doing it quickly. And so that's a part of the niche. So NTI, what we do is we've kind of flipped education on its head. So I'll tell you, of my 2 degrees, I have both undergrad and my graduate degrees. My graduate degree meant a lot more to me than my undergrad, because I was there on purpose. I was there to learn. I think my undergrad, I went because I needed to. I was told I need an undergraduate degree. I went through, I enjoy finance, but I realized coming out of college, when I got into the workforce, I really didn't know that much. I learned a ton of my skills on the job in banking. It's nice to have a little background in undergrad, but I really didn't know it. It wasn't until I got my master's degree that I began to learn business, because I had some experience in the field, if you will, right? Already banking, and I could apply better, or I could relate to better the things that I was learning. So when I look at what we do at NTI, I look at it similarly. We are just teaching skills only. So very fast, we're 10 to 16 week program, and people come in and all you learn is what contractors want you to learn. We have created advisory boards of contractors in the 3 markets that we operate in, and said, what does an entry-level helper need to know to hit the ground running, to be an effective revenue-generating employee day one? And that's all we teach, right? Our curriculum is around what the contractor has said. Hey, if you can teach these things when they come on the job, we'll teach them everything else. But if they know these basic foundational skills, we can put them to work. And so in 10 to 16 weeks, somebody has, they understand the vernacular, they know they gain the skills in labs. We have hands-on labs that they have to apply and go through and really apply the knowledge that they learn in the classroom. And then they're ready to go. And so why I relate that to my own educational experience is that we're kind of flipping it on its head, education, and that let's teach the skills up front that they're going to apply on the job. And then I would encourage every one of our graduates, if they want to continue to grow in business, to go get a management degree, to go get a business degree, or whatever it is that they want, but do it. They're already working, they're generating income. Our schooling is less than $10,000, and so the return on investment is pretty good for somebody. And then they can go and get those other skills that they need as they excel through their career in business. Do they want to have their own company? Do they want to be a manager in the company that they work for? Go get those skills as they can apply them, and as contextually they understand the things that they're learning in class. And so, not that the other model doesn't work, but I just like our model of teach the skills up front and then go learn the other things as you're on the job.
And those foundational skills, Ryan, that you talked about that can be acquired, in 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Are they the same whether it's an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC tech, or a carpenter?
We've organized it in that way so that, regardless of the program that somebody comes into, they're going to be done in that time frame. And so anywhere from 100 to 192 hours of instruction and hands-on lab, they're ready to go. And contractors are lining up at the door to say, can we hire your graduates? And that's taken some time to build, but the reputation is now contractors recognize what we do, the residential service contractors, and they are coming to us saying, how many graduates can we hire, please?
So in other words, I think would it be fair to say that, and I haven't heard you use these words, you're not advertising that somebody can become a journeyman in 16 weeks, You're just saying that I think, especially in today's labor market shortage, where employers they need hands. Yeah. These are effective hands. They can be productive in the field. Will they do something as well as somebody who's been doing it for 4 years, 8 years? Of course not. But they have the foundational, skills to be able to start down that road. Yeah. And I think I heard you talk about how your clients, the contractors, are said, I need them to be effective contributors to the bottom line, to the business. And so what are some examples, specific examples of how somebody who perhaps doesn't have, in 16 weeks can become a master welder or a master electrician, but what are some of the specific things they can bring to that job on day one that helps that small business be more profitable?
Yeah, great question. Let me take HVAC. That's our most popular program, so let me use that one as an example. So one of the requirements of somebody to be on the job for HVAC is they have to have an EPA certification to handle refrigerant, to make sure that they don't mess with that, messes with the ozone layer, et cetera, right? So all of our graduates come out with either Type 2 certification or universal, meaning they can work with any refrigerant. But then they also come out with troubleshooting and diagnostic skills, to where they go on the job day one, they're going to be with a lead tech. And oftentimes, a contractor is going to send out their best guy, right? You think you hire somebody, let's put them with our best person so that they can learn the best traits and be effective. Well, you bring somebody in who already has some of those basic skills. With that lead person, now that lead person can say, go and do a checklist. Go and check this on the machine. Put your gauges on and do these things while they're doing something else that's going to be a part of that revenue generating. Then they can come back and that person has already said, hey, here's what I found. And now they can make a decision, the right decision to help solve the problem, whatever they're there for in that job. And if they can finish that job in half the time, now they can go to the next one and the next one. And now you're completing 5, 6, 10 jobs in a day instead of 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
And so it helps that person to learn effectively because they just have these skills and now they're applying them directly right out of school. But that lead guy can go and do other things or do more jobs in the same day that they wouldn't be able to otherwise. And now it's generating more revenue for that contractor.
Yep.
So
great example. And I also noticed that NTI has grown over the last few years. Again, as you were explaining when you came in with ownership change and now the evolution of that ownership structure. But tell us about the challenges of growing a business, because you also, I hear you talk about the business, you want to have a great, not just results that your clients can measure and profitability by hiring your graduates, but also I think a great organizational culture. I hear you talk about how you want NTI to be a place also where people want to work.
Yeah.
And so what are the challenges of managing that while still trying to grow to other states?
Yeah. I think one of the greatest lessons that I got was coming here to Las Vegas with Chase Bank. When I first joined 4 years ago, we were only in Las Vegas. Now we have a location in Phoenix and one in Houston. When I came to Las Vegas, there were about 500 employees for Chase at that time, or Washington Mutual at that time. And I think 2 of those had experience with Chase Bank in the past. So here I am, brand new to this market. I knew people because of my wife and her family being here, but I came in working for the first time into an environment where nobody knew what Chase Bank was all about. It was all Washington Mutual employees, and now Chase is coming in to say, yeah, we're going to do it our way, right? Mm-hmm. And I learned quickly that it's hard. It's hard to have a culture brought into people who are not familiar with your workplace, with the way that it works. And so I recruited internal folks from Chase to come to the market to work here for us so that they're parroting the same thing that I'm saying, so that everybody in the organization starts to say, oh, this is the way we do this. This is how it's done with this organization. So take that to NTI as we're growing into new markets. Even though we're a small company, we've got about 40 employees today. It's still difficult when you grow into new markets to make sure that the things that are being taught in Phoenix or in Houston are the same things that are being taught in Las Vegas. If the contractor is saying, hey, this is what we need, and somebody, an instructor or somebody decides that they're going to teach it a little bit differently, well, that goes against what it is that we're about, which is doing what the contractor wants, right? Get the bad habits out and just teach foundational principles. And so we have to be on it all the time. Sitting in class, having our campus directors following exactly what needs to be done. There's unique personalities everywhere, but the culture of here's how we do it. We have core values. We have 4 core values. Doing results-driven, invested, proactive, and doing the right thing always. And we hire and we fire based upon those. Let's bring people in who have the same core values, and then we just constantly hit it all the time. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah. Driving organizational culture is one of the most hardest things to do. And like you said, it takes consistency and intentional and purposeful effort, right?
Yeah.
Every day.
Constant, yes.
Let's switch gears a little bit from NTI to your other job, which is not a paid job, but you and I are members, again, of the Board of Trustees of the Vegas Chamber, the state's largest chamber. Mary Beth is a friend of ours, and we have many friends that are our peers on the Board of Trustees. Having your own business, and as we just said, you could spend all of your time just trying to manage the growth and the profitability, organizational, culture of your own business. Why do you choose to be a board of trustee? Why do you do it, and what part of that role do you enjoy the most?
So I love the value that the chamber brings to business in the state of Nevada. I think we saw just a great example of that when the pandemic first started. And we saw that the chamber was a voice for business, both for leaders in the state as well as to business, to be able to say, hey, let's connect and let's make sure that everybody in the business community understands what's going on at the same time. I love the way that Mary Beth has led things. I love the way that the Board of Trustees has worked together as one to bring to the forefront those issues and challenges that face business in Nevada in a united way. That is why I enjoy being a part of the chamber. And I think that business needs a voice. Mm-hmm. It's kind of lonely in business when you have your own business and you're just focused day to day, head down, focused on what you're trying to get done. But there's so many factors that affect your business, so many things out there that the chamber does a great job of bringing a diverse group of individuals together with different perspectives to be able to say, hey, this is how something is going to affect all of us. Mm-hmm. How do we go forward together? And be a part of that, to be able to be a part of the discussions and the decision making that goes along with that is just, I love it. And it's very worthwhile. You're right, it takes some time, but it's worth it because it benefits businesses large and small. It's not, we have some big players in the state, but I've been the representative for JP Morgan Chase to the chamber. Now I'm the representative for NTI, which is like polar ends of the universe, right? But I don't feel like my voice is any less heard because I represent a small business now versus a large. It's great.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's one of the things Mary Beth and her team do the best, is being the voice for small and large, for all businesses, not just here locally, but in Carson City at the state level and, of course, the federal level as well. I think that, the DC Flying is a great example of that. You also find time, I said that's your second job. You have a third job because you also find time to serve on the Governor's Workforce Development Board, which is, as you know, it takes time and commitment. Again, why? Why do you feel that's a worthy investment of your time?
I guess I'm passionate about workforce challenges. I think everybody deserves a shot. I think I look at my own life. You asked about my upbringing. Grew up in a great area, like I said, But one thing that I think I didn't understand is that there were opportunities for me. I didn't have exposure that would say, hey, you can be a small business owner. It never even crossed my mind that I could be a business owner. I thought I would go to work for somebody and I would try and be the best employee that I could be, which is great and wonderful. But I didn't have a network of people around me to say, no, you actually could go and do more. It just wasn't a part of my upbringing. It wasn't a part of the experience that my parents had. And so for me, they didn't pass anything along to me. It was being connected to other people to be able to say, hey, you have more to offer. And so I think my whole purpose, what I like to get out of Workforce, is trying to help open up people's perspectives that, the world, you can do anything in it. And you may need a hand. You may need a little bit more than just you trying to put in hard work. Hard work will take you a long way. I 100% believe that. But I also think you need other people to help lift you and recognize that, hey, there are other doors you can go through. Let me help open those doors for you. So whether it be at NTI, on the Vegas Chamber, the Governor's Workforce Board, for me, it's all about kind of shedding a light on, hey, here's some challenges. Here's some people who could really use a hand up or have some doors open for them. How do we do that? How do we get a megaphone out to say, guys, guess what? You can do whatever you want in this world, and we'll help you get there. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting things I see happening at the Governor's Workforce Development Board in the last few months. With you and Hugh and Ken Evans and, Jerry Merritt, Scott Black, all the folks that are on the Governor's Workforce Development Board, really asking questions about, how do we align all of our resources, right, that are coming here to the state in a meaningful way, in an intentional way, to point in the same direction and try to, again, lift those that need to be lifted, but also in that same sentence of connecting employers to a ready workforce, the employers need the help as much as the job seekers, because they can't grow their business if they're short in labor. Sometimes they can't even meet their orders they have now because they're short in business. So really, we are trying to create that rising tide that lifts all boats, if you will. Yep. I think in the chamber, one of the things that I'm really proud of is that the Vegas Chamber is the first chamber in the nation to host an American Job Center on site. Now there's 2 other chambers doing that as well. We used to be able to say it's the only chamber, but now it's the first. I think that's
you started something good.
Yeah, I think it's again, really cool that our region was the one that came up with that. Our chamber, our workforce board, and now those efforts, I think are teaching us. Last year we also launched the industry sector partnerships, which are leading to better methods by how we take the needs of businesses across all industry sectors into the entire talent development pipeline, because it's not just higher ed, again, which we've talked about. We need universities and community colleges.
Yep, for sure.
We need the vocational training that you provide. The military is another way to acquire skills, apprenticeships, as we talked about in the trades. But the talent pipeline doesn't start there when somebody's 18. There's this machine called the K through 12 system that is pumping out. It's about to pump out 30,000 young people this month of May and every year. And so we got to do a better job at making sure that those 30,000 young people have a robust post-secondary skill acquisition plan. Some of them will go to community college. Some of them will go to universities. Some of them will come to NTI and other vocational training schools. Yeah. But we need to make sure they have the opportunities for all the options. And some of them, by the way, need to work right away, as you said.
Yeah.
They can't even wait the 16 weeks that it takes to go through NTI, or maybe even have the fortune to have the $10,000 available. And so I think we have to create all these different options so they can maybe go earn those $10,000 and then go up the next ladder of the step, buy themselves that skill set at a place like NTI to move to the next level, and keep acquiring, as you said, the skills to maybe one day be an entrepreneur themselves and own a business like you, or go work for a big company and earn those benefits. So,
let me give you a plug, because I think You've done a great job. I think LVGEA has done a great job. The Chamber, these organizations of in addition to what you're saying, we've identified industries, right? You say the industry sector partnerships, the Blueprint 2.0 that was put together, to be able to say in this market, there's some opportunities that we have today, but there's also other opportunities that as a community, if we develop these, we can provide even better jobs for the people who are here. And let's build that infrastructure around helping people to be employed. I love the example of Haas and bringing Haas manufacturing to town and saying, hey, let's make sure that CSN and UNLV and Nevada State College, whoever, they're teaching classes so that we have a pipeline that can push into these really good paying jobs. Whatever track somebody wants to go. Somebody wants to be a brain surgeon, a rocket scientist. Let's have a track for that. If somebody wants to do whatever it is, let's provide a track. And I think, kudos to you guys. I love the conversations. I love being a part of them. But Workforce Connections and LVGEA Chamber have been a driver around, hey, let's shine a light on, there's opportunity in this town, so let's make the most of it.
Yeah, yesterday we had here another a member now of our Workforce Connections board. She's the CEO of the Southern Nevada Regional Transportation Commission, MJ Maynard.
Oh, yeah.
And she talked about an example in her realm of transportation. You know, there are subcontractors that run the buses here in town. Right now it's Keolis. And a diesel mechanic fixing these buses makes $120,000.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why can't we preparing more of these young people in school, identify them, those who are, you know, inclined, they're kinesthetic learners, they get most satisfaction when they're working with their hands. I think we got to do a better job at that, you know, like you said, give them the opportunities, paint the picture, and just allow more choices to be made. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I heard a graduate of ours the other day, a friend of his came in and said, hey, how do I enroll? And the admissions advisor saying, great, yeah, let me help you. What brings you here? He said, a friend of mine graduated from your program. Now he's making $65 an hour doing commercial refrigeration. Yep. And, you know, well, I don't want to throw out numbers like everybody who comes through is going to make a lot of money, right. But the opportunity is really there. Yep. If somebody's willing to go get it in anything that, if you're the very best at what you do, you'll always be in demand.
And in this town, HVAC technicians will always be in demand, right? So
they'll always be in demand.
Enough about work, because we also want to know about the other side of Ryan, right?
Okay.
So tell us about, we know that you work long hours at NTI, the Vegas Chamber, the Governor's Workforce Development Board.
Yeah.
But what does the perfect day of relaxation look for you? If you were to paint us that day where, you know, hey, this is my day, these are the things I want to do, this is how I want to dress, this is what I want to eat or drink. What does that day look like for you?
Can I give two in that? So one of my favorite places on the planet is Hawaii. I served a church mission there, and so I'm connected to the Hawaiian Islands differently, and so anytime I can go there, I wish it was more feasible to be in Hawaii a lot more, right? I think a lot of people would say that, but more realistic, regular for me. My favorite place here in Southern Nevada is Lake Mead. A few years ago, my wife and I, we decided to buy a boat and to go out with my kids, and so we bought a boat with my brother-in-law and his family, and I love to surf. I love to surf behind my boat out on Lake Mead. So you talk about an ideal day for me would be wake up in the morning, go out to Lake Mead before the sun comes up in the summer. Water's beautiful, it's warm, and we just surf. We have music playing, good food, just enjoy being together in a small place, having fun.
That sounds like an awesome day.
That is, I love it. I look forward to warm here in Southern Nevada because I get to go out to Lake Mead.
Yeah, family, food, and fun.
That's it.
So
that's
awesome.
it. Isn't that the best day, right?
That is really cool. And that boat's got to be, I'm trying to imagine it because I see people on the lake. That's a faster kind of boat, but also the one that has that setup and the top so that I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, as a weight tower.
Yeah,
so
weight
the
tower.
rope goes up top.
Yes.
Helps pull you out, and then the way these boats are made these days, you put probably a 3-4 foot wave behind the back of the boat, and you can surf on it.
That's really cool.
And ride forever.
But how many, your family and your brother's family, how many people it hold?
We can hold 17 on my boat.
Oh, wow. And it still moves that fast. That's cool.
Well, and you're only going 11 miles an hour when you're surfing, right? So it
doesn't need to be that fast.
It's not that fast. You don't have to go fast. It can go fast, but yeah, so it's perfect for, I think there's 12 of us on the boat at a time.
Sounds awesome.
We just have a blast.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Yeah.
So you've accomplished a lot in your life, as you said, you're in the finance world. You, without planning, it took a turn and became a business owner, an entrepreneur, now growing that business, evolving in your role, expanding it to multiple states. Again, sitting already on our state's governor's workforce development board. There's not that many people that, that can say that across the nation. There's only 50 of those boards across the nation. And so what advice would you give somebody, a young person, right, that are thinking, man, that's a great life. I want to have a boat like that. I want to own a business. I want to be a community leader, asked to serve on boards. What advice would you give young people that are, looking at you and say, that's somebody I want to be like?
That's a great question. And I don't know if there's an easy answer to that. Because I appreciate you saying, what I've accomplished has been because other people have believed in me, which helps me to believe in myself. So a young person, if a young person ever listened to this podcast and were hearing what I was saying, I would say to them that there is no obstacle that they can't overcome. That you can do anything you want in this world. And volunteer to do it. I think a lot of my experience with boards and others is because I've just asked, can I help? How can I help? And if you're trying to be a solution to a problem, people are going to want to have you, because there's a lot of people out there who will tell you what the problem is, but they don't care to be a part of the solution. They'll just tell you what you're doing wrong. But if you're willing to be the solution, whatever that is, even if you don't know what it is, but you just jump in and start. Just help and be willing to ask to volunteer to do stuff, man, the doors will open. People will be there. They'll see somebody who's willing to put in the work, willing to just do what it takes to get the job done, and fun things will happen.
That's good advice. I like that aspect of, don't be transactional all the time. In other words, sometimes you got to water the plant, and you're putting all the effort in before you see results. And so you're saying volunteer your time, ask what you can do, and that will lead to good things.
That's it, 100%.
That's awesome. Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope you join us at a future episode. Until then, stay safe. Okay, well, thank you, Ryan, for staying over to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
I hope so. Here we go.
The first segment is called Your Favorite. So we're going to start with an easy one. Tell me your favorite food.
Favorite food is going to be Greek food.
Your favorite restaurant.
Ooh, I got a new one. Meraki is awesome.
Your favorite movie.
I'm going to go with Pirates of the Caribbean.
Favorite book.
Favorite book, man, there's so many good ones. As a kid, A Wrinkle in Time. We'll go with that.
All right. Your favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Your favorite decade.
Oh, favorite decade would be the 2010s, the last decade we just had.
All right. Your favorite sports team.
University of Utah.
Your favorite Las Vegas sport team.
The Golden Knights.
Awesome. Well, you made it through the first segment called Your Favorites. Not too painful, right?
Yeah, no, that was good.
The second one is called Tough Choices. It gets a little harder. Are you ready?
Yep.
I know that you like to travel with your family a lot, so would you rather do a vacation or a staycation?
I'd rather do a vacation.
And when you go to your vacation, would you rather drive there or fly there?
Oh, fly.
Fly, okay,
Oh,
easy
yeah.
one. And once you get there to your vacation spot, is it a hotel or an Airbnb?
Most likely with my family in Airbnb.
Oh, cool. Now, spend a day by the ocean in Hawaii or hiking in the mountains of Red Rock.
Oh, man.
Tough, right?
That is a tough one because I really love the outdoors. Man. I'm going to go with the ocean. If it's
All right.
Hawaii, I'm going to go with the ocean.
Yep, Hawaii makes the difference.
Yep.
Now, project in the future, retire on a ranch or in the city?
Oh, on the ranch. Hands
All
down.
right.
Easy.
Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Can I say both?
Yes.
Okay.
No wrong answer. Very good. You finished the tough choices. Now, the final segment is called Finish the Sentence. So I'm going to give you about 90% of a sentence. You're going to finish it for me. Are you ready?
Okay, all right.
If Ryan could visit any place in the world, it would be...
Europe.
The best part of living in Southern Nevada is...
The weather.
Ryan's favorite thing about his job at NTI is...
Seeing graduates go into a good career.
That's pretty awesome. If Ryan could travel back in time, he would travel to...
My teenage years.
Oh, nice. 3 words that describe Ryan are...
Trustworthy. Hardworking. I know that's 2. And cheerful.
I couldn't agree more. And doing the WC podcast here today with us was...
Time well spent. Loved it.
All right.
Yeah, great time.
Thank you for being here.